The Middle Eastern wars are to an extent water wars. Conflicts between Turkey and Israel, conflicts between the Palestinians and the Israelis, conflicts between Ethiopia and Egypt.
We are not talking about potential tension. We are talking about blood being spilled on the streets.
When any country starts to use water beyond its limits and starts harming another region, another country, you must inevitably have water wars.
Australia is the driest continent on Earth. Sydney, their major city, is going to vie with Beijing and Mexico City to be the first international city to literally run out of water. And they've got a massive export. I mean, they're an exporting country, and they are exporting massive amounts of virtual water. They're growing wheat and cotton and rice for export. What you've got here is a government that refuses to deal with reality, which is if they don't start just growing water for themselves sustainably, you're going to find cities like Sydney and Melbourne running out of water in anywhere between 5 to 15 years. I mean, running out of water. I am not blaming Australia. If that were happening in Canada, we would be just as blind. It's just that Australia is facing this crisis first. It was the first reports ever of physical violence between farmers over water. China's doing the same thing. China's destroyed its water table with its economic miracle so that all your running shoes come from there. They've just told Tibet they're going to take Tibet's ancient water systems and just help themselves, and it will put off their crisis for a while, and meanwhile the people in Tibet will have their water stolen.
Water is a fascinating tool politically, and it's not unusual for me to read that the government of China shut down the water for a certain village for a number of days, and the people rioted. And people were killed, and people were arrested, and people were put in jail. That's not limited to China. That happens in many parts of the world.
With the Green Revolution, the idea was that new seeds that required chemicals would generate so much prosperity in the rural areas of India, which in turn required more intensive irrigation, 10 times more water use for the same amount of food production. Costs of production were higher but were made to look cheaper because the farmer in the initial stages wasn't paying for the urea, the pesticides, the seed. After a decade, the subsidy started to get withdrawn and agriculture started to become unviable. Farmers of Punjab started to get angry, particularly the younger generation, which had thought they would have a life of prosperity, but the rug had been pulled out from under them, and they started to organize and rebel. Young people of Punjab in the late 70s and early 80s became terrorists. What we see from 65 when the Green Revolution was introduced to 84 when it ended in the series of massacres, we see a model of totally non-sustainable farming designed only to build more dams, sell more toxic chemicals, and have more control over agriculture. And the people killed in the terrorism linked to the Green Revolution is equal to 6 times 9/11. 30,000 people were killed because of terrorism.